What's the word, y'all? Second day of the NBA season, man, and I forgot how hard it is to watch 11 games. Like, I had a 4-box here, a 2-box there. The Bulls hit their own screen because it's the Bulls and we're going 82-0. So it was definitely tough. With that being said, there are some games out there that I did not get to watch, but don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we have tons. We have over 1,000 games this NBA season. So I might not talk about your favorite team today, but in due time, let's talk about the things that I saw. Leave a like, subscribe. Yesterday, we gained like 1,000 subscribers. So shout out to all the new people coming over. Let's continue that trend, man, because we are dropping these recaps, reaction videos until I don't want to do it anymore, which hopefully is the end of the season. I don't know. I can't say every day. Let's be honest, but you understand. Celtics versus Knicks was the game of the day. Obviously, it went to double overtime. It was in the mecca of basketball. We had celebrities all over the place. The crowd was chanting Obi's name. It was just a really good game. I cannot believe the Knicks even allowed it to go to overtime. The last minute of regulation was just ridiculous. Jaylen Brown pulling up for the logo. Kemba Walker biting on the layup when he were up by 3 and letting Marcus Smart hit the shot. Ridiculous. Luckily for them, they walked out of there with the win and gave the fans what they wanted, which is a very good game. Now, I saw some good things from both sides. I know that the Boston Celtics ended up losing this game, but I think they could walk away with this smiling about some of the things that went on. The first thing, the two centers that played in this game, Robert Williams, Mitchell Robinson, these are two players that we knew for the first couple years of their career that they are good defensive players. The only problem with these two players is that they couldn't stay on the floor because they were very, very foul happy. Robert Williams played 45 minutes, 1 foul. Mitchell Robinson played 34 minutes, 2 fouls. That is a huge W. And now you're trying to explain to people that transitioning as a big in the NBA is maybe more difficult than like a wing or I don't know, guard and big can probably be on the same level, but it is hard to come into the league and be a very good big man. For a lot of these big men, bro, they relied on their athleticism, their length, their height for the entirety of their careers. And now they get to the NBA where everybody is the same size as them. Everybody's as athletic. Mitchell Robinson can't just jump out of the gym and block 3 shots in a row like that anymore. So he played more discipline. Robert played more discipline, and they both walked out here with wins, individual wins. Now, the Celtics definitely could have used more bodies, more bigger bodies, because Julius Randle for the first 4 quarters of this game was amazing, and they didn't really have that much of an option. Al Horford would have definitely helped if he was there. But again, Robert Williams tried to do his best. Jaylen Brown, I was so close to changing my shirt because I got his Juice label sweatshirt. He was incredible today. There's a tweet from like 2018 where I'm like, I would love to have a Jaylen Brown player on my team, and he is just one of my favorite young players in this league. To think about, just a couple of days ago, he was fighting a virus, and today he drops 46 points in 46 minutes. Think about the amount of conditioning. Jason Tatum caught the same virus, and that's how you know we're not talking about that. Jason Tatum caught the same virus and had to work with an inhaler for like 6-some months. Jaylen Brown got over like that and was able to play a ton of minutes. Now, the only thing I didn't like about it, you could tell that majority of the players that were on the court didn't have the legs. We talk about the first game of the season. Yeah, they played some preseason, yada, yada. Nothing really gets you in game shape other than playing like real games. So nobody was ready to play a double overtime game. And you saw that because Jaylen Brown like missed a wide open dunk. Jason Tatum had 2 possessions in a row where he airballed. And I know people are overreacting to Jason Tatum shooting 7 for 30, which don't even look like a real like field goal percentage thing. But it ain't, I didn't see nothing. I was like, oh, this is crazy. A lot of credit to RJ Barrett because he was on an island when Jason Tatum for the entirety of the game, and he really clamped them up. But some of the shots, majority of the shots that I saw Jason Tatum miss in this game, feels like shots he's made 1,000 times in his career. Today was just an extreme, and I mean an extreme off night. I would have loved for them to get Jaylen Brown more involved in that second overtime, but maybe there was something going on in the huddle where JB's like, bro, I'm gassed. Jason, please, it's up to you. And Jason tried to do the responsibilities. Again, when the team gets healthy, I believe they're going to be good. I mean, they're relying on some players who should be maybe lower end rotational players getting bigger minutes. Al Horford coming back is going to significantly help. But let's talk about the Knicks, because New York Knicks basketball is still on cloud nine, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned earlier, Julius Randle playing 4 quarters of great basketball, but you know his legs was gone. In the overtime, he gave it to Mr. Overpaid, and Mr. Overpaid, Evan Fournier, went out and hooped his butt off, man. That overtime, I think it was like 7 for 7 from the field for not just the Knicks, but for the Celtics. They were going back and forth. But when it mattered the most, the Knicks were able to close it out. At one point, Jericho Sims was in the game. Like I said, I have 4 games here, 2 games there, the Bulls game here, and I'm trying to watch everything, but you don't get to see every substitution. And I look over, I'm like, why is Jericho Sims getting minutes right now? And I think immediately he got thrown a lob and he hit one of his free throws. So whatever. Good win for the Knicks. Obi Toppin getting minutes and playing as good as he did was a big step in the right direction because, you know, as a rookie, he had some expectations from NBA fans because he was one of the older rookies in the class, and a lot of people say he was the most NBA ready of anybody in the class. And it just so happened that Julius Randle was having a breakout season, an all-star, all-NBA season. So there weren't that many minutes at his position. And as they're trying to compete for a playoff spot, compete to be one of the top seeds, there's not a lot of room for Tom Thibodeau to throw Obi Toppin in the game and be like, hey, get your reps in. So he had a full offseason under his belt, and hopefully he can be a quality rotational player for them for this season. Big win for the New York Knicks. Man, it feels good to just talk about basketball. The next game we are talking about is the LaMelo Ball Charlotte Hornets comeback. This was one of the games where they were, the Indiana Pacers were up by like 20 at one point. And what I decided to do, because another game was coming on, I think the Philly game was about to come on. You get 4-on-1 screen. I'll push the Pacers to the side. Now, when I push a team to the side, or it's a game on that I'm not watching, I'm refreshing, checking scores. And then they went on that run. At one point, I think it was 8 minutes left in the third quarter, it was still a 20-point game. LaMelo. Listen, I know LaMelo is like loved and hated because of how much buzz he gets, or he got throughout the course of like his being a freshman in high school, even before that, and now being an NBA player. A lot of people don't like LaMelo Ball because of that, because of his father, things like that. You cannot deny results. This man was unstoppable today. And if he is really come around with his three-point shot, not that it was bad before, but if he can get really consistent with his flat-footed three-point shot, it's over with, bro. Like, he is going to develop into a superstar. I mean, he had already been one of the better playmakers in the entire league based off his rookie season, and if the shooting and scoring is coming along with it, hey, they got something special with Charlotte, man. Gordon Hayward, new hairdo. He had designs on the side and stuff. I don't know, was he rocking that last year? Big shots. He had a bank shot late in the game. I'm like, oh, he caught that. He caught that. And no major surprise to me, because I didn't really know what teams were going to roll out when it comes to starting lineup. So when I saw the tweet that Miles Bridges was getting started with PJ Washington, I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because I do love the LaMelo Ball Miles Bridges like connection. Miles Bridges really big for them today, and even though PJ only played 19 minutes, he shot 1 for 7. He had 2 free throws, or what they said, PJ with 2 beauties. One of my favorite calls, the 2 beauties after some free throws. Get hyped about free throws. And then at the last possession, he was the one guarding Sabonis and got the stop. So, Miles Bridges, starting power forward, did not get his rookie extension, so we'll see in restricted free agency how well he plays and what that can mean for his future. Kelly Oubre didn't have a good shooting night, but he came up during that run. They really, really put it together, man. It's Smith. Oh my God, I don't know how I got this far in, and I mentioned it's Smith. Somebody said, whoever was calling the play. I wish I knew every commentator's name. Was like, it's Smith is so fast, he'd be the second person to revolving door and end up out of the revolving door first, or something similar to that, which is facts. That man, Smith is like 30-something years old and still one of the fastest players in the league, and you saw that he had a little moment where I think he scored 8 straight points by himself before the first half ended, and they used some of that momentum into the second half, and it was just a good game for them. For the Pacers, though they did end this game, lose this game, another like collapse. There's no way around it. It was a huge collapse for them. Being up by 20 with about 16 minutes left in the game, and you lose that game, not the greatest sign. Miles Turner not really getting any PT in the fourth quarter was surprising to me. Rick Carlisle, new coach, trying to figure out his rotations. He's obviously missing some players because TJ Warren and Karis LeVert are out, which means that Jeremy Lamb gets minutes, and it just felt like Jeremy Lamb was running around there and taking shots that he shouldn't be taking. And hopefully he comes around, because I used to really like Jeremy Lamb, and I know he dealt with some bigger injuries, and that might have derailed his career, but Jeremy Lamb low-key was one of the players I actually really like. Domantas Sabonis as unstoppable as possible. That's the only thing about the Charlotte Hornets team, or not the only thing, but the biggest thing about the Charlotte Hornets team when I watch them, I think that a lot of good big men are going to give them the work. Now, Sabonis is definitely one of the best big men with a 33, 15, and 2 stat line, but I feel like a lot of good big men in the league are going to do similar things to them. Chris Duarte, I don't know how I haven't mentioned him. Chris Duarte, out of nowhere. Like, listen, I knew that Chris Duarte can hoop. I watched him in preseason. I didn't expect him to hoop to this guy. I don't know if anybody expected him to come out in his first official game. First of all, to start. I didn't expect that. But to start and give them 27 on amazing efficiency, he was having fun. He was smiling out there, at least when they were up by 20. When they were by 20, he was smiling. Like, after that, I can't really say anything. But he was putting it on the floor. It was one time at, like, the end of a quarter, end of a shot clock, he, like, waved everybody off and pulled up in somebody's face. I'm like, bro, yeah, he might be 32 years old, but that don't matter if he's giving you 27 points as a rookie. Malcolm Brogdon got extended and had a solid game, but they completely collapsed. Not a great night for them, but some good things to take away with Chris Duarte, depending on which commentator broadcast you were watching. The Bulls got a very ugly win. Very ugly win. The entire time I was like, bro, can we please pull away from this team? The Detroit Pistons are going to be in these games a lot. A lot of this happened last year with the Detroit Pistons, too. They ended up being a bad team when it came to, like, the overall record. But there were a ton of games last year where the Detroit Pistons were in the game until the last 5-6 minutes. Then it falls apart, whether that be by design or not. I know this wasn't by design. Nobody comes to game number one and, like, it's time to tank. It just so happened that they didn't have, like, Cade Cunningham. You know, having Cade Cunningham helps there. But the Bulls' defense was one of the bright spots for me. It was not a very pretty win, but we got the win nonetheless. Vucevic was very frustrated the entire game, but continued to, like, force up shots. DeMar DeRozan was forcing up some shots. But Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso won us this game. Lonzo Ball in the fourth quarter was huge, actually. I don't know how I cannot talk about him. Whether it be him getting a couple rebounds, or him getting steals or hitting shots, he was huge in this game. And it felt good for us to win a game, to be over 500 for the first time since 2017. The first season opening game that we've won since 2016. We have been down bad for a long time. And though it was not pretty, hopefully we can take that winning mentality and come into Friday's game, which I will be at, and win a game. Shout out to Ayo DeSumo getting NBA minutes. Oh, also Killian Hayes was terrible. Not the best. Hopefully he could get it around, because last year, not good. He had a little stretch after his injury where he came in, he's averaging like 9 points, 9 assists, which is good. Summer League was not good. Preseason was not good. And then starts off this game, first game of the season, 0 for 6. 0 points. And hopefully something can turn around with him, man. I like what I saw from him coming into the draft. So the fact that he has not been able to do pretty much anything at the NBA level is kind of depressing to me. Let's talk about the big ball Cavs. Oh, we got Sexland and the big ball Cavs. Ooh, I'm liking that. They started with 3 centers. Now, I remember when they signed Lauri Markkanen, people were like, yeah, we're going to run Lauri at the 3. I'm like, no, you not. I watched Lauri Markkanen for 4 years. Running him at the 3 is a terrible idea. They did it today. You know, the top pick, one of the top picks that they drafted last year, coming off the bench. For the 7-foot guy that has 0 lateral quickness. But guess what? Team didn't look bad. And a lot of that has to do with Evan Mobley being as versatile as he was. He had other than Chris Duarte, off the top of my head, he had the best rookie debut, again, other than Chris, with a stat line of 17, 6 assists, 9 rebounds, did not turn the ball over, and shot 54% from the field. He was incredible. Jared Allen, incredible. I low-key liked what I saw from this team. I know as a Bulls fan, a lot of Bulls fans hate the Cavs right now because Lauri Markkanen and Denzel Valentine be making like Instagram posts like talking trash about the Bulls. I can't live in that boat. I can't hate an organization because a few players been talking to. I don't do that. I liked what I saw. Yes, they lost this game. Yeah, they lost this game. I like that they had in the crazy amount of how many assists they end up with, because they were swinging that ball. 38 assists with the Cavs. Everybody talk about Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. These players don't be, not Darius Garland, but Colin Sexton being a ball stopper, and they don't have anybody to play make outside Darius Garland. A ton of assists. Ricky Rubio off the bench, double. I like what I saw for them. Do I think they about to go out there and make a ton of noise? No, but I think they could be a fun league pass team, bro. Especially if Evan Mobley's going to be as good as he was today. But my most improved player pick, which people laughed at me for, again, is 1 game out of 82. Ja Morant, Demetrius Ja Morant, incredible. And he only shot 2 free throws and ended up with 37 points. A freak of nature. It was, again, I got the 4 games on, and I'm watching him. He dunked the ball. I'm like, all right, okay, the Bulls game is coming down to the wire. I look back over. He get a steal. He landed up. That was like 3 seconds, 4 points. He was incredible today. I can't even explain it. There was no solution to Ja Morant, and I feel like a lot of teams are going to run into that. There's not a lot of solutions for Ja Morant. Desmond Bane, D'Anthony Melton, these are 2 guys that got brought into the lineup and moved Slow-Mo to the bench. Slow-Mo was really good for them last year. So the fact that these 2 are starting, you can tell that Taylor Jenkins really trusts these young guys, and they showed up today. Jaren didn't have a good shooting night, but he stayed on the floor. what was that, 2 fouls? Another guy that's known for fouling extreme amounts stayed on the floor and ended up getting his win. But a lot of that was just Ja Morant highlight after Ja Morant highlight and Ja Morant highlight. And I'm low-key, I'm gonna have to talk to my people over at House of Highlights because they posted a few of them. They ain't posted enough of them. We talking like 15 minutes of highlights, it felt like, bro. Ja Morant was like that. Next game. Now, this game was definitely hit or miss for me because I watched a chunk of it, but it got to the point where it was out of hand and I stopped watching it. We're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Houston Rockets. Oh, man. The big three, and yeah, I'm saying big three because they're the best 3 players, showed they bust today. You know, them boys was hooping. Anthony Edwards, look as confident as ever, and that's saying something considering it's Anthony Edwards be getting interviews talking about I can swim like Michael Phelps. I'm Tiger Woods on the holes on the golf, but didn't know who A-Rod was. You know what I'm saying? We talking about the dude that sweats confidence. And he looked even more confident today. And that was just amazing. Carly Towns to the mission today. He ended up with 30 on 73% shooting. Defensively, Jaden McDaniels, Josh Okogie everywhere. And that was one of the major questions we had about this team. We knew they'd have players on their team that could score. D'Angelo Russell could score. Cat, Ant-Man, they can all score. But who's going to be there to help get stops? And Jaden McDaniels ended up with a stat line of 3 points, 3 blocks, 4 steals, 4 rebounds. Didn't have to play garbage time. They let the garbage time. You know, Jaylen Noel gets some minutes in here and there. Hey, it's game 1 against, you know, probably the worst team in the league. But that is the type of momentum this team is going to need. Anthony Edwards, really good. Carly Towns, really good. And D'Angelo Russell as third fiddle, really good. I like that D'Angelo Russell is the 3rd best player at this point and not look to be the 2nd best player. I do believe that Ant-Man's about to hit another step. And I do believe Carly Towns obviously is the best player on the team. Not a lot of great takeaways that come from that Houston Rockets part that I watched. Kevin Porter Jr. is a guy that a lot of people had to win Most Improved Player. In game number 1, he looked like he was struggling to make the simplest of passes, struggling to even dribble the ball. And that's not going to happen for 81 straight games after this, but it's just something to keep an eye on. Jalen Green, a guy that's going to take a lot of shots, and he might not be as efficient as you want him to be, but we shall see. Another game that I get to watch a ton of, but I did tune in at the exact right time, where Furkan Korkmaz turned into Stephen Wardell Curry. He was hooping. Which is great. I feel like Furkan Korkmaz has a few moments like this every single season. Sometimes it even happens in the playoffs where he is on fire and there's nothing you can do about it. The Pelicans ended up losing this game. I didn't hate what the Pelicans were doing out there. You know, Jonas Valanciunas missed a ton of like gimme putbacks and things like that. And people might look at his stat line and be like, "Oh, they just extended that dude." It wasn't that bad. Like the eye test was not that bad. Like a lot of those shots that he was taking, he's going to be making throughout the course of this season. But for the most part, Philly looked, dare I say, good. You know, Tyrese Maxey, first NBA start, 20 points, a little dub, hit some threes. Listen, if the 76ers starts off this season and they're winning good games, or we're winning games against good teams now, the Pelicans, of course, missing Zion, so they're missing their best player, or one of their best players, their best player. So we'll see what happens when they go against the top end talent. But if they can consistently be good, I bet Daryl Morey and the ownership and Elton Brand and them will be like, okay, maybe we'll settle trading Ben Simmons for some good quality role players. Because it seems like they got some things going on here, and it could just be elevated by having a deeper bench. George Niang, big for them, replacing the Mike Scott minutes with a guy that actually still hits his shots. Danny Green was doing cardio, but it's Danny Green, so we love it. Joel Embiid only had to play 25 minutes, which is a good thing. I don't want Joel playing 40 minutes a game because then you get to the playoffs and he can't play. But like I said, I didn't hate the things that the Pelicans were doing. I don't think, you know, this is something the Pelicans should be overreacted to. They lost the game. That's fine. Denver came to play. And one of the big questions when they played against the Suns in the playoffs was what would happen if they were at least relatively healthy. We're not even talking about Jamal Murray, but if PJ Dozier or Will Barton were healthy, and this might have been a sign of what could have been. PJ Dozier, this team just has so many players that I feel like you could just throw in with Jokic, and you'd be like, yes, that's good enough to be a playoff team. And they showed that today. First half wasn't the most beautiful half for them, but something happened in that second half. They made some adjustments, and Jokic wasn't even looked at to play, make 2 assists. Is that a career low? I took the over on the assist. I was like, yeah, he gonna make it happen. Nah, he went into a complete scoring mode and decided to do that. I was low-key hating that Michael Porter Jr. is playing so unselfishly. How about you take more shots, Mr. Efficiency? How about we do that? You know what I'm saying? How about we do that? Just overall, they look really good. Will the Trio Barton with a dub. The Green Bros, even though they're not really bros, came in and played some quality minutes. And the Suns just didn't look ready to hoop today. They started off really solid. DeAndre Ayton was really good in the first quarter, and then they completely stopped giving him the ball, and he stopped being as aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, and then everything kind of fell onto itself. Nothing to overreact to, though. And then lastly, I watched the ending of the Kings versus the Trailblazer game, and I actually do want to go back and watch a bulk of this, because I see that Harrison Barnes ended up with 8 threes, and they were showing the highlights in the last couple minutes. It seemed like all of those were open, so I need to see what was happening on the defensive side of the ball for the Trailblazers, because if you do not remember, in the offseason, Neil O'Shea say, hey, us being a terrible defense was not a testament to the roster. It was about coaching. And you gave up 8 open threes, made threes to Harrison Barnes. I mean, you almost pulled it out because you have some dogs in your team. You had Damian Lillard not hit a 3. So that's not going to happen too often this season. That's why you're not going to overreact to the offensive side. But the defensive things has to tighten up, man. Luckily, CJ and Yusuf Nurkic was there to make this a game, but you got to get better on the defensive side of the ball. Swiper was really good, apparently. Again, I got to go and watch the entirety of this game because I need to see how the heck Harrison Barnes ended up with 8 open threes at the minimum. I mean, he ended up attempting 11. I'm guessing he wasn't taking contested. So, yeah, like I said, there are some games in here that I did not get to watch, like Toronto Raptors versus the Wizards. I didn't get to watch it, but I did see the ceremony or the video because the fans were finally able to watch the Raptors and Scotiabank Arena for the first time in 600 days. 600 days. So they end up getting spanked, but at least the fans were there, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. And I made a tweet a couple days ago where I was like, I'm gonna watch more Spurs games this season. And I do like players on the Magic, but seeing them play against each other, I couldn't do it. So yeah, next game I'll be watching those teams. I saw Mo Bamba had a good game, but other than that, I don't really know what happened in those. Let me know what you think in the comment section. First days. Tomorrow we got some more teams that we're gonna get first impressions of, and I'm excited to talk about those. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all. Peace.